The verdict is in on what design styles are trendy for 2024. And luckily, we have James Judge, realtor and designer here to tell us a little bit more about it. Welcome.
Absolutely, Lexi. Thanks for having me on this morning to talk about all the stuff we're going to start seeing in 2024.
So this is so great because I feel like when it comes to home design, I'm the last to know about this stuff. And I feel like if you walked into my home, you'd be like, oh no, we got to update this stuff. So I'm excited to hear what is trendy for this year. So start walking us through what we're going to see in 2024.
Absolutely. So interestingly enough, we're really going to see a lot of warm reds. I wore this specifically today
There you go.
because for the longest time, red hasn't really been a very popular design color. You know, red can sometimes create a lot of energy, excitement, but also anxiety. And so, you know, if you have a warmer tone to it, whether it's maroon, burgundy, auburn, depending upon whatever you call it, it can really become a nice neutral color. This is actually a kitchen that I remodeled recently, and we painted all of this cabinetry a dark maroon. You know, it really brings a lot of richness to a home, and it's a pretty universal color. It can go more traditional with beiges and browns, but it can also go a bit more modern, even with grays and whites. You know, and this is a really easy way to add a design trend to your home because paint is so simple. You know, and if you don't like it, if it doesn't work, you can always paint over
it back. Absolutely.
Exactly. This was a kind of a fun project I did where we actually stained the concrete floors a warm red. It's bold. It's a bold choice.
I was looking for where the red was, and I was like, wait, I don't see it.
Exactly.
The floors.
Yeah, and you know, if you pair it with a bunch of neutrals, it's a really nice way to bring a pop of color into a space, and it adds a lot of warmth. So it's a neat way to kind of bring color in. It's not an official color for 2024, but it's a color we're going to see a lot more of, and there's great ways to bring it into your home.
I think we can make it an official color for 2024. I like it.
I support that. We should. We can make that official.
Done. So I also see curved lines.
Yeah, so the design trend number 2, curved lines. For the longest time, it's always been about, we've seen a lot of modern looks. So everything was really linear, horizontal, hard lines, and that was popular. But we're going to see that change with a lot of curvilinear lines. So this is from Anthropology. We're seeing it a ton. I know. I want this. We're seeing a lot of it in furniture. So furniture and decor, it's a great way to really bring in curvilinear lines. So if you're out shopping and you're looking for some new furniture, you're going to see that automatically. I mean, looking at this, it's an organic shape. So it's not just a curve. It is truly embracing organic lines, which really is an inviting element. The more curvilinear things are, oftentimes the more inviting it is, and it really brings a lot of visual interest.
Okay, so I have to ask, just because I'm seeing a trend inside of this trend, which to me looks like mid-century modern. A lot of these curved lines remind me of like the 60s vibe. Is that something
that... Even 70s, right? So we're actually, I'd say that we're moving away from mid-century.
Okay.
So moving away from the 50s, 60s, and more into the 70s where curvilinear lines were still prominent. So you're totally right. And that blends though, right? Because anytime you have these design trends and over the years, they do blend together. And you're right, there's a bit more of a 70s vibe that's coming back with these curved lines, keeping it organic. And honestly, these curved lines really are welcoming. They're inviting. And so you can introduce these super easily, even into your existing decor. So you don't have to go out and buy brand new furniture for the entire house. You can just focus on really doing a couple key pieces when you need them. And it's a great way to kind of bring in that 2024 design trend.
All right, groovy. The 70s are back. I like it. Okay, texture.
So texture's been making a comeback for a long time now, right? Like, I'm all about the texture, and there's so many great ways to really bring it in. This was another house I did where, if you look closely, you can see that we added this trim work to the walls. So before, there was nothing on the walls, and we took this small molding and actually just framed it out in rectangles. And doing this brought so much texture to the walls.
Definitely.
Now, I chose to paint it one color, which makes it really subtle, but bringing in this texture adds a lot of visual interest. Again, previously, over the last several years, it was all about modern design, so really focusing on things that were clean and crisp. Now we're warming things up, making it a touch more traditional, and so it's all about bringing in texture. So even doing paneled walls and painting them brings in that texture to make things more vertical and brings a lot of visual interest into a home.
This is so beautiful because the amount of texture that's here, you would maybe think would be overwhelming, but it's not. It all works together. It ties together so beautifully.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes a big difference, and you can do the same thing even with tile. So doing a wall of tile brings that texture in, adding the beadboard. Doing beadboard is a pretty simple DIY project. You know, it's something that adds a lot of visual interest to a space. You can buy it at Home Depot, attach it, paint it, and you're good to go with a lot of texture in your home.
Okay, so let's move on to bold prints because I want to make sure we get to this.
I know you're rocking it today. Honestly,
I am, yes. I wore the grandma couch blazer just for such an occasion.
It's working for me. I tried to do a little bit of bold prints too.
Great, I love it.
You know, bold prints, it's a nice way. We're seeing this come back, and we're seeing it a lot in wallpapers and also in upholsteries. This was a fun project I did because actually this is vintage wallpaper, and I chose to keep it. So the whole kitchen was done in this wallpaper, and I minimized it dramatically. But it's still a bold print, and we're seeing it. So it's whether it's fruit, whether it's plants, whether it's birds, graphic prints are really coming back and making a big visual impact on the design. Yeah, it makes a great statement.
Oh wow, this wallpaper is incredible.
So this was during the process, but it's oranges, and you're seeing a lot of the lines that make up a lot of very interesting things.
Let's get to our last photo really quickly so we can just see it. Yep, another gorgeous wallpaper.
So bold prints,
so beautiful.
Lots of great ways to add it, whether it's a rug, pillows, wallpaper.
You can throw it
peel
in.
and stick wallpaper too. Super easy way to DIY that.
Easy and beautiful. Okay, James, well thank you so much. You can find more about James and all of his gorgeous design projects on Instagram at The House Judge. So that's easy and fabulous. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, stick around guys. We got more of The Mix coming up after this.